and I make whole food plant-based dishes that I hope you like. They usually taste pretty good, which is what I'm known for. So today I'm going to make something that is really good for summer. It's still really hot here in Texas. It's been over 100 degrees for so many days, and now we're in the mid-90s, which feels like a break, if you can imagine that, but it's still very hot. So cold salads and things that don't require cooking are so good this time of year. So for example, what I'm making today is full of fresh vegetables, and some of the garden vegetables. I might have some cucumbers and tomatoes, although they're kind of dying out now because it's getting near the end of summer. But you know, I can still get really fresh corn at the supermarket. A lot of fresh vegetables are still available and very plentiful. So I like to have a lot of bright colors in my salad. And then the other thing is I make a lot of beans. So I belong to the Rancho Gordo Bean Club. And so this week, yesterday, I made mantequilla beans, and they look kind of odd before they're cooked. I saved a few to show you. They're kind of almost like a gold yellow bean, but they're considered more of a white bean in terms of cooking. But once they're cooked, they're brown. So they don't really look like a white bean, but they taste kind of like a white bean. They're very mild, and I just love the way they taste. They don't have the strong taste, and they're very soft textured, so they're really a good bean for summertime recipes. And then I made marinated tofu, and I marinated this tofu overnight in some liquid smoke, some hickory smoke, and some other ingredients as well. I'll put all the recipes in the show notes so you'll have them. And so what that did is it made this really nice, very flavorful tofu, and I'm going to cut it up into some little squares here in a minute and add it to the bowl of everything that's going into the pasta salad. And then, of course, pasta. What kind of pasta do you use? In this case, I use fussili. This is the package. It was Del Verde organic whole wheat. So I use whole grain ingredients if I'm using wheat. And so it cooks up really nice. It's whole grain, but it still has a nice light color, and I cook it to where it's not overcooked, because soft pasta in a summer salad doesn't taste good in anything, but especially I don't really like to have, you know, soft pasta in anything, but not salad. So I'm going to take the equivalent of about, I think I'll take roughly 4 cups. That's my hand measurement, but it's very accurate. So we'll put our pasta in there first, and then I've got some of these other things measured out. So to make this a little bit easier, I said I was going to add some beans. I have rinsed and drained my beans, because even though my beans were cooked in a really nice bean broth, it's still, when you're going to put them in something else, like I'll show you, this is how they look out of the bean broth. The bean broth kind of congeals, and it's a little thick, even though it's just nothing but onions and garlic and salt and pepper. It's not something that you want to put in a salad with something else. I think it's just better if you rinse your beans off before you use them. And then we can add another thing. I haven't fully prepared my corn, but I was at the supermarket and they had really nice summer corn. And I didn't realize it was going to be white corn until my husband started peeling it. Then he said, "Did you know this is white corn?" I said, "No, it doesn't say on the husk white corn, yellow corn." It just was fresh summer corn at the market, and I know it's fresh because they're just putting it out. So I usually don't get it unless I know they just got it in. And so what I did was I stripped it off, and then I'm cutting it into little squares because, you know, it doesn't strip off in little perfect little corn kernels. But I like that it's in these little sections. To me, that looks good. So I'm going to put about a cup of that corn in there. But when I go to the grocery store and I see that they're putting the corn out, then I'm pretty sure it's going to be fresh corn. And so then I'm more likely to buy it than, you know, if I go there and I see that it's in a bin and it's been there for a while. Because when you have fresh corn, you want to make sure that when you bite into it, that liquid comes out of it. It's crispy. And oftentimes, unfortunately, the corn will just be kind of, you know, old, and it doesn't have any crispness left. Okay, so I'm going to measure these things out a little bit. I'm going to put that was a cup of beans, a half a cup of chopped up cucumbers. These are just your traditional, typical hothouse cucumbers. Garden cucumbers are great if you have them. I had some all summer, but they're gone now. Red bell pepper, you could use orange bell pepper, green bell pepper, anything you like. Banana peppers, okay, half a cup of grated carrots. And then I have some red onion. I love red onion, about half a cup of that. Chopped up kind of small. And then I have one jalapeno that I chopped up very small. It's not going to be a half a cup, it's more like a fourth of a cup. It's a whole large jalapeno. I know some people aren't big on spicy, but remember I live in Texas and we like things spicy. So, so you can see what I've put in here so far. It's the carrot, the bell pepper, the onions, the cucumber, the beans, the corn, and the pasta. So look at how nice that looks so far. And I still have some cherry tomatoes and smoked tofu. So let's get some cherry tomatoes in here. And we'll just put a handful in. You can add more later if you like more. I like to cut them in half because who likes to bite into a whole cherry tomato and then all the seeds and the juice pops out all over your white t-shirt, right? Is that what happens? That's what happens to me every time. So we'll definitely cut them in half. And these are small grape tomatoes. And they're fine cut in half. We'll get those in there. We'll get our tofu in there, make our dressing, and then we'll be able to serve it. Oh, and I also have some avocado over here. I'm not going to put avocado in my salad today because I'm not going to eat it right away, and the avocado will just sit there and start discoloring. So that's something I would add later on. Okay, so I'm going to take this tofu, and I'm going to use about 4 pieces in this amount. I had 4 cups of pasta, so I'm going to use 4 pieces of tofu. I'll wipe my knife off. You could use more than 4 pieces. 4 pieces is like half a block of tofu, and it's extra firm tofu. If you wanted to have more, you know, just put more pieces in, but this seems about right for the amount of pasta salad. If my son were eating it, he would put the whole block in because he's a tofu lover. And the tofu, what I like about it is by smoking it and baking it, it's kind of chewy and meaty tasting. So I really enjoy it. If you're a tofu hater, like some people are, you can skip the tofu and you can put in just more beans, or you can put a couple kinds of beans in here. That seems about right. That tofu has such a nice smoky taste. I actually think it could use one more piece. I'm going to put one more piece in it so it's more evenly distributed. So I think you can tell that this kind of recipe is very easy to change up. So, you know, if you're the person that doesn't like raw onions, don't put onions in it. If you're the person who doesn't like tomatoes, skip the tomatoes. You see what I mean? You can put any summer vegetable. You could put zucchini and yellow squash in here if that's more to your taste. So you see it has a little bit more tofu in there, so it looks, you know, it's just more balanced. So now I'm going to make the dressing, and then we'll plate some up. And I think one of the things about this recipe is we can serve it on some kale. I have some washed curly kale here. And I really like to try to get more greens into my diet. So when I eat this for my dinner tonight, I'm going to take a bed of this nice kale and put it in my bowl, and I'll show you when I plate it. So that's another way you can get some greens in your diet. But that's not necessary. You can serve the pasta salad just like pasta salad. That's all you need. Okay, so my dressing ingredients are, one of the main key components is it's a miso lemon dressing. So I have some miso already measured out, but you could use grocery store miso, like you can get this at the American grocery store, or, you know, I get this other kind at the Asian supermarket, Marukome, reduced sodium miso, but any kind you like. And I'm going to take a big bowl measure out my ingredients, and then we'll have our dressing. This makes really good salad dressing too. Okay, so I have my 2 tablespoons of miso, a tablespoon and a half of tahini, and I like this Mighty Sesame tahini because it's pourable. So a tablespoon and a half is about, this is 1/8 of a cup, that's 2 tablespoons, so I'll measure it out, almost 1/8 of a cup, I mean. Okay, and then it requires a tablespoon and a half of maple syrup or date syrup. I use date syrup because I like date syrup. I'm trying to get away from sugary ingredients, and you know, maple syrup is one of those sugar, it's really more sugary, and date paste, date syrup has a little bit of nutritional value because it's made from something with fiber. Okay, I have about 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. I squeezed it earlier. And then a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. So I'll use my little 2 tablespoon measure and measure it. Fill it halfway. So there we go. And we can add more to taste. And then we're going to put in a couple of tablespoons of water. And then all I have to do is whisk this together. And it makes a really nice, very flavorful dressing because the miso gives it a lot of umami and flavor. And I used to make a salad with this same dressing, and it was a miso corn kale salad. So I basically took kale and the fresh corn and this dressing and added the same thing, fresh garden vegetables, and it was more of a big bowl of kale salad, and the main star of that was the corn. But this time I was looking for a way to use my beans. I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. So I'm going to add another tablespoon of water because we have a lot of pasta to cover. All right, so now all I have, and it's nice and smooth. So it turned out, after whisking it, it got really smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that amount, all of it, on my pasta salad. And toss it together. And there we go. We have this nice pasta salad with a nice dressing, all these fresh ingredients. Oh, and we can add some fresh pepper, freshly ground black pepper. We could also add some cayenne pepper. But since I put the jalapeno in, I'm going to add just a little bit because some people are kind of sensitive to cayenne pepper. So all that's left to do is to taste it, and then we'll plate it up. So how does it taste? This is a lot of pasta salad. Goodness. Well, I like it. And I know my son, who's coming over later to get all this food that I don't eat, will love it because he likes whatever I make usually, and he has decided to be plant-based. So he's very open to eating all this kind of food. So I put a bed of greens, because remember I try to eat a lot of greens. And then I'll put my serving with this wonderful smoked tofu, beans, corn, fresh garden vegetables, and I have some pumpkin seeds over there on that tray that in one of those jars. They're pepita seeds. They're green. My helpers. Oh, there we go, that I forgot to get. So I like to top these kind of salads with a little sunflower seeds or pepita pumpkin seeds, just because a little crunch on top is great. So there we have it. This is my pasta salad, whole grain, with some freshly made Rancho Gordo beans. You could use canned beans. It has the summer corn, all these nice bright vegetables. It's on some greens. This is a wonderful meal. It's not something that is hot. You can make the pasta early in the morning, so when you're getting ready to eat your dinner, you don't have to heat up the kitchen. And the dressing can be used on regular salads and in lots of other things. So I hope you make this pasta salad, whole food, plant-based, no oil, with smoked tofu. And, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on my chef page on Facebook, and also look at my website for my ebooks, cookbook, and all my classes that I've ever taught on Zoom are listed on my website. So if you go to chef-julia.com, you can find all the classes I've taught in the past couple years on Zoom. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.